excited about the upcoming school year. I think if we remember this time last year, there was many parts of the country wouldn't open their schools. We thought it was very important that parents had access to in-person education. We were able to do it. It was unique circumstances. I think our school districts, most of them did a really, really good job, and I know a lot of the teachers were instrumental in getting the kids back in as well. So we want to thank everyone for doing that. We look forward to this upcoming year to be a normal school year, be in person and live like normal and learn like normal kids. There's been talk about potentially people advocating at the federal level imposing compulsory masks on kids. We're not doing that in Florida, okay? We need our kids to breathe. We need our kids to be able to be kids. We need them to be able to breathe. It's terribly uncomfortable for them to do it. There's not very much science behind it. There's some schools we had didn't do masks, others did. The outcomes were not meaningfully different, and so I think it's really important that parents obviously can equip their kid to go to school however they want, but there shouldn't be any coercive mandates on our schools, and so we want to make sure that that is it. As of right now, all the school districts are going in that direction, but there is going to be, it looks like, a campaign from Washington to try to change that, and I've talked to Chris Sprouse. If we need to come bring them back in to be able to do something from the legislative perspective, he's all in to be able to do it, and I know that people will do it. At the end of the day, we got to start putting our kids first. We got to look out for their education. Is it really comfortable? Is it really healthy for them to be muzzled and have their breathing obstructed all day long in school? I don't think it is. And I look to think, I have a 3-year-old son. You got people like Fauci saying he should be muzzled, that you should be throwing masks on these 3-year-old kids. It's totally unacceptable, and certainly unacceptable to have any level of government imposing that on parents and on kids. And so we look forward to a normal school year. Obviously, people parents can make decisions how they want to, and we wouldn't restrict that, but we certainly will not have any mandates on students and on parents in the upcoming school year. Yes?
Hey, Governor, there's a group of physicians in Florida meeting right now concerned about the rise in COVID cases. They were critical of your policies as it relates to COVID. What do you say back to those doctors who are concerned and critical of your policies?
Where are they? Who are they from?
There's a group down in Miami that's meeting on Zoom right now, a group of physicians.
Well, look, so if anyone is calling for lockdowns, you're not getting that done in Florida. I'm going to protect people's livelihoods. I'm going to protect kids' right to go to school. I'm going to protect people's right to run their small businesses. We have a situation where we have 3 vaccines that have been widely available for months and months now, and people need to make decisions what's best for them, but to have the government come in and lock anyone down or restrict anybody is totally unacceptable. And it's easy for some physician to advocate that because it doesn't affect them. It does affect the people in this state. So we're going to lift people up. We're not locking people down, and we're going to make sure that folks are able to exercise their decision making, that what's best for them. And I think millions of Floridians have obviously done that for the last year and a half, and so we want to continue to support their efforts. Yes, sir.
Governor DeSantis, Steve King, WPBF 25 News. With the spike in cases in Florida, what message do you have for people who haven't been vaccinated up to this point?
Well, we've had this available for everybody in Florida since April. You know, it's interesting, people said, because I had mentioned the data yesterday about how it is true, people who have been vaccinated are testing positive, and so we just have to be honest with that with people. Biden said last night, if you take the vaccine, you will not get COVID. That is false. We know that's false. People have tested positive, but I think what it does do is it really prevents against severe outcomes, particularly death or a serious hospitalization. So we just have to be honest with people, but I don't think telling noble lies to people, which a lot of the people in the bureaucracy and the medical establishment tend to do, I don't think that that's very helpful, because I think people look at this, and if they don't trust the information comes out, then they're going to obviously do whatever they need accordingly. But it's interesting, you know, I had mentioned that favorable data. People are like, oh, it's the first time he's ever mentioned that. Like, people actually saying that. Some of the news was saying that. I'm like, were you asleep in December, January, February, March when I crisscrossed every corner of this state? I showed up at nursing homes. I showed up at hospitals. I showed up at senior communities. I showed up at pharmacies, and I was criticized for doing that by a lot of the people in the peanut gallery for whatever reason, bogus reasons. But nobody leaned into this because we have a very elderly population, and we wanted to be able to provide them access. But at the same time, we've never had any mandates in the state of Florida, and we will not have any mandates in the state of Florida, because ultimately people need to make decisions about what's right for them. But I can tell you, with having 85% of seniors that have been vaccinated in the state of Florida, that has had a positive impact. The nursing home fatalities are down 95% since the vaccines rolled out, and the overall senior fatalities are down over 90%. So let's focus on trying to prevent severe clinical outcomes. These positive tests, I mean, the media will try to do that. They try to create a hysteria. They try to do that. Obviously in Florida, we're not getting swept away in that. I mean, we're going to protect folks' livelihood. So that's not, but I worry about in some of these other states, what they're going to be doing. You saw a lot of these places like UK and Israel had huge explosions of positive tests, but they didn't have the similar level of clinical outcomes that they did prior, 6 months prior or whatever. So I just think at the end of the day, we worked really hard. We've provided really unprecedented access to so many different avenues that that was what we set out to do, and we did it.